Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Inside the Force. We are back. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Good evening, Hannah.
Good evening. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Yourself?
Doing well, thank you. Ready to jump into Beyond the Saga for the next bit?
Yes. And we are continuing on this episode the Star Wars Volume 1 comic series that kicked off the new, the old reboot of the Marvel line. And we have now reached Volume 11. There's 13 volumes in this thing, so
we're almost done.
It's been a long ride. Volume 11, The Scourging of Shu-Torun. So here's the thing, is like, it's crazy that this character, Queen Trios and Shu-Torun, actually has been brought up a lot in this storyline, as well as the Vader line, because Vader has crossed over with this a lot. But this is Volume 11, and this is written by Kieran Gillen still, which is his final run of this series. So we'll talk about it later. It kind of feels like that, a little bit. But this came out in August of 2019, so it's about 3 years old now. But we are almost to The Empire Strikes Back. We're filling in that gap, right? So, Scourging of Shu-Torun. So, Hannah, what were your overall thoughts of this story?
All right. So, this story in a nutshell is Leia trying to take down Queen Trios. I think we can argue that a good chunk of that is for revenge. Mm-hmm. But I think another thing of it is that Trios has proven to be quite the pawn for Vader. So if you get rid of Trios, you get rid of one of Vader's key players in this whole game. We've seen Trios a lot. Vader just has complete control of her, thanks to what he did, or thanks to his threat to her planet a couple comics ago. So, because of this, Leia, I'm sure like that's her main argument is if we take her down, then that takes us one step closer to defeating Vader and defeating the Empire. But I think deep down, it really is revenge. And I think, it's Leia coming across this lesson. I almost wonder if it's, and this might be thinking a little too deeply here, but I almost wonder if this is like her versions of a Jedi test almost.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay.
Coming face to face with her feelings of hatred,
mm-hmm.
and anger,
mm-hmm.
and fear. So it's just an ultimate question of what does she do with all of that?
Right.
And how does this end?
Yeah.
So but that's the whole story in a nutshell.
Yes.
And there's a lot that happens. And you can definitely get the feeling that this is the last one Karen wrote, because it's very much of a curtain call. We see a lot of characters that he has introduced to us earlier in this series. We see them again,
right,
in this book. So overall, I feel like this is very important, specifically for Leia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what about
this is definitely Leia's story. And this Trios character, she just keeps popping up in these Star Wars comics. We've covered it a while ago where she's betrayed. She was posing as and it's almost, I feel like, she doesn't really even know what she needs to do. I think she has become dependent of the Empire in a sense. So she has to do that, even though she really doesn't want. I mean, it's Vader, right? So you can't really say no to him. But she has. For sure, I think there's even a line in this book where she actually thought that she felt like her and Leia were actually becoming friends, right? So yeah, so she was like almost describing like it was unfortunate I had to betray her, but I had to, and of course not knowing that Leia's going to come back at her, in this. So, so it was a cool storyline. I think overall for me, it was just good to see again the group, Han, Leia, Chewie, Luke working together. Again, we're filling in that gap between episodes 4 and 5, and it's nice to know that our heroes didn't just stay hidden for 3 years and look for a base. They were out there actively doing things in the galaxy, trying to defeat the Empire. And, this is just one of those storylines that it's a little revenge, revenge for Leia trying to get back at Trios, but then also ultimately there is a mission here that's hopefully going to hurt the Empire. So I like that. I like that part of it. And I like them, like you said, this is kind of Kieran's curtain call. So I like him going back and grabbing some other characters, especially going back to Jedha and grabbing the partisans. So
Yes.
I thought that was really cool.
It really was.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Anything about the story that kind of changes your thoughts on any of these characters or anything?
I think and the word I was looking for earlier was trials. I think for me, it really emphasizes Leia's internal struggles because, in the original trilogy, she knows how to compartmentalize everything, especially after seeing her home planet get destroyed.
Right.
She's just able to, keep that professional general face and that, that war face. She knows how to keep it together. Mm-hmm. And I think what these comics do, it helps us see beneath the surface what she's going through. Right. And we get to see her turmoil and we see her struggling with all of these different temptations and feelings. And, she's trying to balance it all.
She is.
So I honestly think this comic was great to get an inside look into Leia and
right.
ultimately how she's similar to her dad in a bit.
Yeah. I can see that.
And that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil it anymore.
Right. Yeah, totally.
What about you? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think this adds a lot to Leia. I think Han and Luke are pretty normal in this storyline. I think they all kind of each have their missions, to do their duties to do. Luke ran into a little bit of a snag, with the partisans, and he had to kind of deal with that. And Han was doing his piloting and stuff like that. So they were kind of in their elements. I feel like, Leia though, yeah, this was more about Leia. This was more about her dealing with her emotions and leading. This was her mission, right? She came up with the idea. She's trying to execute it the best way she can. So this is clearly showing her ability to carry out a mission and not be a princess, but be a general. And yeah, that you can see where that leads, obviously, down the road, especially in episodes 5 and episode 6, and then of course the sequel trilogy as General Leia. So she's had it from the beginning, man. She knows when she's and it's not like one of them things where she just creates the mission and sends people out on it. Like, she actually carries it out herself. And that has always been the most attractive quality, I think, of Princess Leia, is that she's in the fight. She doesn't just sit back and watch, kind of like Mon Mothma, even though I'm a Mothma fan. But, Mothma's not in the fight, right? No. So she is, obviously everybody knows this. I mean, but Leia is truly like one of, if not the strongest female character almost ever made. I mean, I can't think of one. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
And honestly, what's incredible about like the Obi-Wan series is this 10-year-old girl. She is playing Leia, in my opinion, perfectly. There's a point, and I gotta say it, even though I know you haven't seen it.
Oh no! Should I plug earmuffs?
No, it's not. Because I actually want you to know this when you're watching it. There's a point in this last episode, which is part 4, where the little girl kind of leans back and looks up. And I'm telling you, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that is Princess Leia. Like, that's her mannerism. Like, that's Carrie Fisher's mannerism. Like, I was like, man, this, Deborah Chow killing it as a director. I mean, this shot, I was like, I don't know if anybody else has seen it like that, but I just pointed it out to my wife because I just watched it for the 4th time with her, and she saw it for the first time. But right when that happened, I was like, that is Princess Leia. Like, that is. So anyway, this overall, like, she is just an incredible character. And everybody knows that from the movies. But now when you read stories like this and these other previous ones, and I can't wait to get into the next series, which is between Empire and Jedi. I mean, it's, I don't know, she's always been popular in my head, obviously, but she's next to the top.
Oh, like, speaking as a woman, I looked up to her ever since, I was a little girl.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I want to be Disney princess, sure, but I want to be Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be brave. I want to be on the front lines. I want to be a great leader.
That's
but
fantastic.
Still have the grace to do it. So, thank you, Carrie Fisher, for Princess Leia, because she was one of my heroes growing up.
Yes, yeah, and a lot of women, I think, looked up to her, and I think I hope they. And I think they're starting to with the books and everything, but I think they need to do. I wish they would do more live action with. I know it's gonna be hard, but with Padme, I think she's so strong as well, and I don't know if you can get, because Natalie hasn't aged. I mean, she looks the exact same.
I think she has the ring to rule them all. I think she and Elijah Wood are just sharing it because they don't age.
I know, right? So you could bring her back for that time period between episodes 1 and 2. I mean, you really could, and have a freaking Padme series or something,
Mm-hmm. With her handmaidens, please.
Absolutely, right? And do you know who played Sabe?
Yeah,
Keira Knightley. Like, she hasn't aged either.
Bring her back.
Bring them back. Oh my gosh, I would
be amazing.
Kill for that. I would kill for that. That would be incredible. So, but here's the thing too: is maybe you could. Maybe I was actually thinking you could actually do a Sabe story after episode 3 and still use Natalie Portman.
Oh, you totally could.
Because technically they're supposed to look alike, right? I mean, Keira Knightley actually looked like her at some points, sometimes in the movie. Like, it was hard to tell them apart.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, the main giveaway was the eyebrows.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, Natalie Portman has definitely distinct eyebrows for sure.
Yes.
But I hope they do that. Like, I think you got Leia, and I think you got Padme, and then for my daughter right now, she looks up to Ahsoka. So you have Ahsoka, so you got some incredible Star Wars females and Star Wars women, and I think I hope they, they're definitely doing more Ahsoka storylines. I hope they do more Padme, like some kind of live action, or I guess I'll take animation if I have to. But man, let's get Portman back, man.
Please.
That would be awesome.
Pretty please.
Okay, so we got 2 more volumes in the Star Wars line. Anything else you want to hit on for this?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think maybe the one thing is that, with us talking about this more and more, I can't help but think of another mission she led earlier in the comics. I think this was during the crossover with Darth Vader or with Vader.
Yeah. The Vader Down one?
Yeah, Vader Down, where, that mission essentially was a failure to her.
Yeah.
A big failure. So, but both of them, she, were rooted in her wanting revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if she learned her lessons from that one, because the strategy between that and this are drastically different.
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Yeah, I think they're definitely learning as they go, which definitely makes sense, because there is a dramatic jump between episodes 4 and 5 with these characters. So now we're seeing kind of what those experiences were, and the decisions they made, and the fight that they were in. So it's really awesome.
Well, it seems like a really simple detail to point out, but there are a lot of series out there that don't do that.
No,
it's just characters doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But here you actually see their growth. You actually see them learning from their mistakes.
Yes. Yep.
So even though, yes, it is a simple thing to point out, I think it's worth pointing out, because it just shows how much more powerful the story really is.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So definitely worth picking up. What do you think? What are you rating this thing?
3.75.
3.75. Oh, wow. You're even going by the fourth.
Well, of course, I got to go by the fourths.
By the fourths. Yeah. I'm probably at 3.5. I'm probably at 3.5. So I'm almost there, but it's not quite a 4. So I'm with you. Somewhere in that 3.5, 3. Yeah, that's I'm there. Not the greatest of these volumes, but definitely worth reading and worth continuing. And
absolutely,
again, the last book for Kieran Gillen of this series, we get into the last 2, 12 and 13, which are written by Greg Pak. So we'll continue that. And the last book, actually 13, there's I think the last issue in that actually sets up the whole, leads right into Empire Strikes Back. So it's pretty flawless, which is awesome. I can't wait to get into it, because I haven't read these yet. I just read this for the first time the other night. So looking forward to getting into 12 and 13. And stay tuned for those. We will have those to you shortly. We really appreciate everybody, again, especially on our patrons, on patreon.com/InsideTheForce. Really appreciate that. If you want to join there, you can get all of our episodes early, and of course, exclusive content, exclusive merch, and soon to come. We've got a lot of stuff coming on, commentaries and Q&As and stuff like that. So really, really appreciate everybody there. But everybody else, continue to subscribe and listen to us on all the podcast feeds, and we will keep coming at you every week. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Hannah, so much for hanging out.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate it.
Yes, this is awesome. Absolutely. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. Go enjoy Star Wars, especially Obi-Wan Kenobi. And we'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.